Hi. I guess that's good. How you doing? Welcome to the replay. Welcome to Daily Fuel. My name is Bobby, and why is this close? I'm the host of this group. Hang on. There we are. Hi. Okay. There's always things that I have to do after I start it. Like I need to get this going, but I can't get it going until after I start the live because I got to be live. So in order to access it, there's a thing going on right here. I don't know what the heck this is. It's driving me nuts. I meant to. Nah, whatever. You're gonna have to deal with that. Hi. Now you're gonna be staring at that the whole time. Just welcome to the replay. And if you're in the replay, do me a favor and say hi. I'm in the replay, and let me know that you're here in the replay. I like that. Ray is here. Hi, Ray. Click, click. Yeah, I like the click sound. I didn't hear the click sound. I don't know. Why didn't I hear it? This is low. There's another wacky day here. My daughter had to take a placement test for college today, and they required it to be online with a Zoom proctor who had to watch her take the test. Anyway, it can only be done on Mac OS or PC, and her computer is a Chromebook, so she had to do it on my computer. So I had to unhook all my stuff for Daily Fuel and set up the camera so that she could take the test, and then she had to take the camera and show it around the room to the guy to make sure that nobody was here, helping her cheat or something like that. Anyway, how you doing? And I see Mikey's here as well. So it's about the 2-minute mark. We can get started. Let us begin. You hear that music? Somebody's got music playing up there. Kirsten's here. Hola. Hi. All right, let's go. Light and shadow. Amanda. Amanda said light and shadow work as a group. As a topic suggestion in my topic suggestion post a couple weeks ago. And I liked that one. I wanted to talk about light work and shadow work a little bit. I don't get too much into that kind of language here. I'm a little more general / scientific a little bit. That's my personal style. But I liked this topic for a couple reasons. One is because I wanted to talk about my take on light work and shadow work, but also because I wanted to talk a little tiny bit about the language that we use to describe all of these things. Some of us are very woo-woo in this group, and some of us are not. And the interesting thing to me is that we're all saying the same stuff, just using different words. And sometimes I feel like even when it comes to the terms light work and shadow work, even some people have different definitions of what those things are. I've seen posts not in this group, but in other spiritual groups where people will refer to shadow work as something really evil or sinister or something. And I've never really taken it that way. I don't poo-poo it. People are allowed to believe what they want. I respect all of that. But to me personally, everything is about healing and authenticity. It's just, I'm just on a path to be the best me and to raise everyone up around me with me, and to also be buoyed and bolstered by everybody who's around me that is getting raised. So that's what it is. And so, of course, I have 3 things to say about light work and shadow work. And if you're joining live, I'm going to ignore the comments, but I'm going to come back to the comments and say hi to all you guys at the end. And you guys can keep commenting throughout the whole thing. So here are my 3 things about light work and shadow work. Is number 1, I believe they go together. A lot of people say you should only do light work or you should avoid shadow work or, make sure you do your shadow work. I think they go together. I think they're actually the same thing. I think that we just have come up with 2 terms. It's like, there's heads and there's tails on a coin, but guess what? It's a coin. It's one coin. And you can't have heads without tails. It's just not possible. So to me, it's contrast. The difference between light work or shadow work, the difference between the light energy that you feel and the different compared to the shadow energy, the traumas, the stress that you feel. And I was kind of putting it into Juanita. I don't know if she watches these in the replay. I haven't seen her on the lives recently, but Juanita in the post today wrote yin yang, right? Yin and yang. That's what it is. They go together. They're two halves of the same thing, light and shadow. And if you think about art and music, right? Visual art or music. In art, we call it contrast. We call it dynamics, right? If all we had was light on the canvas, it would just be a blank canvas. It would be white. That would be it. It would just be bright white. Look at all this light, and that's it. And it's great, but you need to add some darkness. You need to add contrast. You need to add all of these things. And the more that you do as a contrast, if you make it too dark, then it just becomes dark and you can't see much. But when you have contrast throughout the image, then you have something to look at, something beautiful. And in music, we call it dynamics. The dynamics of music, especially as a singer. A lot of times, singers might come up with a melody for a verse and then a chorus, right? And sometimes in songs, when I hear songs that don't have a lot of vocal dynamics, and it bothers me because the singer will sing a melody for the verse and then sing the chorus, and then they go into verse 2 and it's basically the same exact melody, just with different words. And then the chorus again was the same exact, and there's not much of a rise, there's not much of an oomph to it. And then even at the end, it's just like sing the chorus a couple more times and we're done. And it's like, because there were no dynamics to it. For me, when I sing a song, I like to start in verses that are kind of low and then kind of raise up in the chorus. And then when they go back to the verse, I might sing a verse that goes back low, but I might add like a high harmony to it or something, or sing it even higher than the chorus, but in that original melody. Or I might even switch up the melody so that it kind of goes the same, or it's a harmony to it, or it's a corresponding part. And then the second chorus into the bridge and the end of the song is suddenly the chorus just is like over the top. I try to really raise up the dynamics and then bring it way down for the bridge, and then back up again for the final chorus. That's what this is. It's light work, it's shadow work. Without one, the other doesn't really stand out. You're just always in brightness, or you're just always in darkness. So I prefer to think of them as two sides of the same coin. Now, when we think of the shadow work, the darkness, the traumas, the internal stresses and things like that, I like to think of this part as if you have a house, right? You have a house, you have walls, you have curtains on the windows, you have a roof, you have the things, you have furniture inside. Well, none of that stuff is going to be sitting well at all if you do not have a solid foundation. And the foundation, a lot of times, is where we find the deep, dark shadows. Think of your basement, if you have a basement, or the crawl space under your house, or, wherever you live. Think of like below the floor where you're standing. That's usually like the dark, crappy part, right? And I just cleaned out my basement, and because I was trying to bring the energy flow through the house to my office, and also get rid of a lot of crap that I don't need. But internally, emotionally, sometimes we need to kind of dig into those traumas a little bit and pull them up just to get rid of them. Because if you're just ignoring them, if you're only looking forward to positive things without ever really like tapping into the issues that create those programmings in your head, then those programmings are. I feel like it's a weird day today. It's just a weird kind of day. I'm sure you can hear my dog. Those programmings are never going to go. She'll stop barking in a sec. I don't know what the heck she's barking at. There might be somebody at the door. Who, in God's name, would have the audacity to knock on my front door when I am doing a live? Don't they know that? I remember when I was a kid, just as a little side note, when I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones, right? When I was a kid, so nobody did, and so because they didn't exist. So we had that one phone on the house that looked like that phone, right? It was one of these. This is just the weirdest day. I'm gonna trip on this. Oh my god. Anyway, it was one of those phones, right, that hanging on the kitchen wall, and it would ring during dinner sometimes. And you'd answer the phone because you didn't know who it was. We didn't have call waiting yet. That didn't exist yet. And because I'm 100 years old, in case you didn't know, right? And it's like, hello, and you find out who it is then. Then you know who it is because, and if it was one of your friends, like one of my friends, I'd be like, my dad would be like, who is it? And I'd be like, it's my friend. He'd be like, I told you to tell my friend. I told you to tell your friends not to call during dinner. And I was like, they don't know when we're having dinner. How do they know that we're having dinner, So who would have the audacity to knock on my front door? I told my neighbors not to knock on the door when I'm doing my live. Anyway, sorry, that was insanity. And I don't know what it sounds like to you when the dog is barking, but it is so loud and it's like right above my head that I can't even think. Anyway, get the crap out of the basement is what I'm trying to say. That shadow work sometimes is... it kind of is just holding you back a little bit. Now, the thing about it, though, is that a lot of times we start digging into the traumas, into that shadowy stuff in our souls, and you just keep digging and digging and digging because there really is no bottom to it. And I like the way that Dr. Joe Dispenza describes this. He says that when something happens in your past, right, so some trauma in your childhood or in your young adulthood or whatever, right, what happens is we take a snapshot of that and we store it in our memory as a snapshot of that pain happening. And then we relive that pain throughout our lives, except the thing that caused the pain is no longer active in your life. But you can remember that trauma, and because that trauma happened, we created programmings to sort of counteract it, to cope with it, coping mechanisms. And whenever we feel a certain way because of that trauma, because of that remembered snapshot, that memory that we have, those programmings kick in all the time. So it's not like we have to go back in time and figure out like, oh, that day that so-and-so kicked me in the shins, and ever since that I've been, very afraid of shoes. That's not really the problem. The problem is that I am still reacting to certain things with that same feeling, and I am activating my coping mechanism programs the same way over and over again, and my life is exactly the same. It doesn't change. I don't get the new place. I don't get the new this. I don't have the relationship this. I don't have the art career that I want. I don't have the things that I want that I think will make me happier, because I'm actively running these programs in my head based on past traumas and the coping mechanisms that I've built to deal with them. So the shadow work isn't so much to go back in time and fix that thing that happened. That thing is irrelevant now, usually. But we're still reacting to that thing when other things happen. We've learned to react a certain way, and we keep reacting over and over again. And that shadow work will sort of bring it to the surface so we can look at it. And then what we do is we shine a light on it. That's why shadow work and light work go together. Because the shadow, if you think about it, you have a shadow because there's something blocking the light. We have to take those things out to unblock the light so the light can shine in and hit us in the heart. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I like that. All right. I think that was 3. I said everything here. I don't think I said it. And number 3 is, but anyway, and also the phone thing. That was historical. By the way, I knew that piece was broken. It's just placed there, except I forgot. So when I picked it up, it just came flying off. So it wasn't like I broke it. It was broken already. It's just a prop. It doesn't even work. And you can't even see in this thing, but that's Batman up on top of a red phone. So the Commissioner Gordon phone, right? That's just a prop in my studio. That's all that is. So anyway, I see some Facebook users here, so I'm going to have to yell at them. Mikey says horns. I don't know what that means. Crimson's here. Hi, how are you? She says hola. And Roberta is here. Hello, Roberta. And Barbara says, hi, Barbara, how are you? Healing and authenticity. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's what I think light and shadow work is to me. It's, and let's see, we have a Facebook user. Who is getting the wrath today? Unless you're brand new, in which case it's totally cool. It is, where the heck are you? Hello, says Roberta. And then Barbara says healing. And then Barbara's watching. And then Anamita. Oh, Anamita, you're new. Hi. She says awesome. Hi, Anamita. How are you? Anamita, see, this is what I see when you say things. At the top of this post. Oh no, maybe not, because I think I keep forgetting to hit that thing. Let me see if I can do this. Hang on. Invite group members. Copy link. Done. I can't. Can I add I can't add a comment. Anyway, whatever. I'll add it to you, and I'll link it to you. Don't worry about it. Anyway, there's a link you got to hit just so that I can see your name on these lives. It's no big deal. Crimson says balance. You can't have one or the other. Balance, yeah. Right. It's not going to be just one or the other. You got to have both. Mikey, you must deal with the shadows to appreciate the light. Exactly. Perfect. Well said. Good summation. Thank you. Kirsten, definitely a balance. Without one, you can't have the other. There you go. Rupert, I am late. What's up to that, man? Anyway, it's late there, dude. You're in the UK. Hi, Rupert. Hi, Bobby. Who's that? Is that Anamita again? Yes, it is. And see, I can see you on my phone. Oh, now something went right eye. Wow, this is a calamity of a day again. This is really funny. Rupert says, hello. Favorite songs that aren't in verse and chorus structure? Are you asking me? I don't know what that means. Favorite songs that aren't in verse and chorus structure? Dogs are allowed to bark. Yeah, they are allowed to bark. Of course they are. But, you know, I don't like when she barks when I'm doing my live. I usually put her in the room and close the door so that she doesn't, because she'll just run around. She'll just come outside and be like, what's going on? Nothing? All right, and go back in and just keep doing that. And that's her feet on the ground. That's what they sound like to me. My dogs hear your dog. Rupert, I still remember the landline number of the house I grew up in until I was 26. Yeah, so do I. It was 433-6050. 433, that's where all these 33 things come from for me. And Facebook user says, me also. Is that Anamita again? It is. Hi. Okay, cool. Barbara. Okay. Let's do. For me, shining light on trauma helps to release them and know they do not serve me anymore, and it is no longer my truth. Yeah, that's it, right? We take the trauma out, we shine a light on it, and now we can look at it and just be like, this is what I was nervous about? When it was hidden in the dark, it had those glowing red eyes, and it looked all... Now it's just like two little red dots, and you're just like, this is nothing. I was afraid... Get out of here. This thing's going to disappear. I can then live with more authenticity and clear any blockages. Awesome. I will keep reacting instead of responding from a place of love and acceptance of myself if I do not shine light upon my shadows. Awesome. Wow. That was really cool. You see that? It disappeared just as I was done. Nice. Rupert says, let it go. The dog barking. Okay. No, I'm not going to let it go. I have certain things that annoy me, and they will continue to annoy me. They are, they're part of my charm. Roberta says, love Joe Dispenza. Yeah, me too. Roberta, before you joined the group, I was doing, months ago, I was doing lives every day. I was reading his book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and I was going through that program. And every day, I would do a live on what I had done that day. That was back in, like January. That was really cool. Rupert says, avoiding engaging with someone because of past arguments and fights with that person. Yeah, I think you're commenting in response to something I said, but I don't remember exactly what I said, so it's a little out of context. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Barbara, yes, programming. We remember the trauma, and when the trauma occurred, we lost trust in ourselves. Oh, that's really interesting way to put that. I needed to regain trust in myself and delete the programming. Did I say that? I don't think I did. We lost trust in ourselves. So this thing happened, and suddenly now it deep down inside, I know this is wrong. This sucks. This is not how things are supposed to be. This is a bad thing that just happened. And instead of, maybe because at the time we didn't have the tools in place to say, let me figure out how to respond to this without losing my shit. And But instead, we lost trust in our ability to discern things, because especially when you're young, right? You haven't really experienced enough to know that just because something stinks doesn't mean it's. Let me rephrase that. When something happens that's traumatic, like whatever it is that we're talking about in each individual case, when a trauma happens, especially at a young age or an impressionable age, we sort of internalize it and think, well, I must have done something wrong. Something must be my fault. And so we lose trust in ourselves, and then we create these programs to circumvent how bad it feels to lose trust, or to cope with the situation. That's really interesting. Losing trust. That should be a whole nother daily fuel. Barbara, that was a good comment. Let's see if I forget that. Rupert, what's the biggest thing that happened in your life to you? Are you asking me that, or is that a general question? The biggest thing that happened? I don't know. Probably having my kids. I think that's the biggest thing. Becoming a father, I think, changed me. Not in a way like that, like some dramatic way. Like, I was this partier and my life was in the shithole until my daughter was born and then I got clean. Nothing like that. I was always like, it might have just looked like, oh, doing, had a kid. Oh, that makes sense. That was me, Except that I don't know. Internally, things just kind of clicked and made a lot of sense. My wife and I were talking about this morning, actually, that we made decisions as young parents, even when we first got pregnant. Well, she got pregnant. I didn't get pregnant. That'd be weird. But but people say when we got pregnant, right? So when we first got pregnant, we started making decisions that sort of laid the groundwork for how we were going to have our family, and we've been doing it the whole time. And now, 18, my daughter is 17 going on 18, and it's worked. And we didn't get it out of a book. We didn't take classes or anything like that, but we had conversations and we just said, like, how are we going to do this? And we kind of laid out how we wanted to, and we trusted it. And that was it, because for whatever reason, we didn't have a trauma that made us lose our trust in our ability to do that, although we have since learned that we did, but somehow we gained it back from each other, which I think is great. So I'm gonna go with that. Thank you for that question. I don't know if you were asking me that, but I answered it. Always observe your reactions. Yeah. Sometimes, when you observe your reaction and then react accordingly, I like to use the word respond for that, and I use the word react for just like, like when you just fly off the handle or something like that. And if you look back on what you did and say, I should have done that different, to me that's a reaction. But if you observe and then respond with some wherewithal intact, that's a response. That, I don't know if everybody agrees with that definition, but I think we can agree that there are two different things there. That I just call them those things. Crimson. I saw Karina and I said crimson and they came out crimson. Crimson says, painting is my coping mechanism for all my feelings. And people enjoy the variety in my art because I don't just paint my happiness, I paint my darkness too. Yeah, I appreciate a lot of that because that's the way that I am. I like to write songs, and the graphic novel that I'm making has a lot of darkness elements in them, but I feel like at the end of the day, they sort of lift up into this light area. I feel like I get both sides. Like there's a lot of the nitty gritty is the darkness, but it sort of kind of leaves you with a feeling of, there's hope, or there's optimism there. And some songs are just like, boom, like you're great, like that kind of message. But most of my stuff is not, Purple Flowers stuff. Karina said, and by the way, I say that sometimes, I say woo-woo, Purple Flowers. That doesn't mean that I am against that approach to life. That works for some people. It doesn't work for me, but my approach doesn't work for some people. And I don't think that anybody should feel like you should like we need to be carbon copies of each other. I think that would be boring, and which is why I love an artist group, because there are so many people here. I'll sometimes point out, "Ooh, your work kind of reminds me a little of this one's style," but I have not seen any two people in this group that are like a carbon copy of each other, or even remotely close in some cases. This is why I said Corimzin, because I saw this one was next with a heart. Thank you. I like hearts. Rupert, horns, RE songs. I don't know, dude. Okay. Facebook user, let's see, is that Anamita again? Yes. I like that. Shadow, this is really... okay, that sounds like a typo. Rupert, yes, I'm asking you. Okay. 433 is John. Yep, John Cage's piece. Yes. Yeah, I didn't know that, but you pointed that out a couple weeks ago, and I looked it up. That was interesting. Thanks for that. Equals programming. I was really thinking, what's your biggest trauma? I don't know. I've worked through most of those. I like whatever the big trauma of my life was. It's not like I'm even worried about it anymore. I couldn't even tell you. I don't really even know, to be honest with you, because anything that used to would have been my biggest trauma is not even a thing anymore. I think that now I just deal with the repercussions of them, and I'm thinking, why do I, like, sometimes what'll happen is I'll do a thing, or I'll make a decision, or I'll act on a certain thing, or I'll react to something, and then I'll be able to realize, I did that thing again, and I notice a pattern of me doing that thing. And so now I'm up to this point in my life where it's like I'm realizing that I have programming based on traumas, but I don't even give a shit what the trauma was. It doesn't even matter anymore. Now I'm just like, boy, man, I built that program, and that programming stinks. And I'm deconstructing that programming and restructuring. These are not words. Well, destructing is. I'm destructing the programming and reconstructing new programming. So that's my answers to that. Horns equals Bobby's hair. Is that what you're talking about this whole time? Oh my God. Here's a funny thing. When I'm doing this, you guys are all in your respective wherever you are, right? Looking at me doing this. You're on your phone. You're at home. The kids are screaming in the back. I have no idea, right? I picture you all sitting in a room together. That's how you're all saying, like, that's how I kind of imagine it. Man, that's really funny. Karina Gray, I love your work. It's real and shows both your light and dark. Yeah, I agree. Yes, a reaction is knee-jerk. Knee-jerk. That's a good way to put it. Thank you. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yes, that's a good song. Mikey... Sometimes the thing disappears. Here we go. Sorry. Mikey, a reaction is your predilection to act. Observe before you act on your reaction. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Ray, many say birth is the biggest trauma from both sides sometimes. That could be true. I don't remember my birth. Well, guys, that is the last comment. We have made it to the end. And, yeah. Well, thank you for showing up. And Amanda, if you get to watch this in the replay, this was her idea, light and shadow work. So thank you for the idea. And if anybody else has an idea, you can tag me in a post, or you can message me if, sometimes if we're not Facebook friends, try and Facebook friend me first, because then people message me and sometimes they end up in that weird folder that I have to like hunt for them. And I don't always remember to do that. So, Mikey, Ray gets first and last booby. Yeah, well, you just stole the booby prize, dude. I didn't even get around to announcing that Ray had gotten the booby prize. I don't even know if Ray's ever gotten the booby prize. She's usually, you guys are like angling for first, and she, I don't really know if you ever got it, Ray. Anyway, you know what? Ray, just blanket. You get the booby prize today. I don't even care who comments anymore. Thank you, Mikey. So, okay, she says. So there you go. Ray gets the booby prize today. If anybody else comments, it's too bad. I'm making an executive decision here. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much and hanging out with me. As always, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.